All right. Here's what you're going to need for the implementation session. If you're like my friend Laura, I'm going to say, hey, Laura, I want you to get prepared. I want you to grab 5 compelling headlines or 5 headlines that you've been using, 5 long form posts, 5 short form posts, 5 video hooks. Really, if you have some videos, that's great. And then ideally, we like to start with 10 images. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying you have to do this right now. If you were to hire a contractor and the contractor was to say, hey, Kurt, when should I, when I get the micro budgets, what's everything I need to get started before I watch your training? If you haven't taken the advertising primer yet, the first thing I tell you is, hey, before you start taking the micro budgets, this is pretty much all you, and you start implementing the micro budgets, this is really what you need. So if you want to take a screenshot so you know this is what I need to get started when I'm starting the budget overall, not today, but if I'm starting it overall, or if you were going to give this to a contractor, or honestly, one of the reasons I like doing these trainings, Hema's on here, which Hema has an amazing trading business, super smart, and I love what she said, and this is why I love that she's here, is, hey, I already have somebody that I'm happy with that runs my ads. I just want to make sure that I'm learning it so you can manage and inspect it. So if you have an agency who's running your stuff, ask them, hey, when you get started, you don't have to say $20 campaigns. Hey, when you get started, how many different headlines, long form posts, video hooks, 1-minute videos do you need from me, images? Can I see that? How do you prepare for that? I'd like to understand the process a little bit. And it's not offensive to ask that question. You're just asking, how prepared are you before you're running my ads? So this is what you need to get started with the budget to do some really pretty easy testing regardless of budget. Now, I'm going to do a 15-minute implementation, what I like to call sprint. So if you already have some headlines, some creative copy, and you have a creative document, start heading there now. I'm going to tell you exactly what we need here in a minute for the step-by-step how-to. But if you have a copy document, if you have a de facto document, if you have a scratch pad where you put in a bunch of headlines and some posts, that's great. Do they need to be long form or short form? They can really be any kind of posts. But if you're already running ads, if you already have copy in an organized area that you can grab with images and videos, start to do that now. What we're really going to be looking for to do when we do this hands-on process next is really you just need one headline. I like to enter 5 headlines. That's what I like to do in the dynamic area, which I'll show you in a minute. I like 5 long form posts. Now, just to jump on this for just a minute, because I didn't have time to add the slide, I want to make sure I touch on this. Nick and I like doing long form posts for ad creative copy. We talk a lot about this in the advertising primer. And essentially the reason we write long form posts is we're not looking for people just to click because they saw a catchy headline. No. We want people to be we want it to be highly relevant. So many times what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you how to do this here in a little bit where you're going to put it in. I personally like to create, every time I create a creative, I like to create 5 long form posts. Now, again, we teach this in the advertising primer, but to be specific, a long form post is 1,200 to 2,200 characters long. And it's going to go through a story because Dan Kennedy says readers are buyers. So I want some long form posts to do a couple of things. I want the long form post to have Meta analyze it so they can target my most relevant audience. I can't do that with a one-line post and a headline and that's it. Remember I showed you before in the audience bidding or in the way that the auction works, Facebook's going to estimate what the actions are. Make some long form posts so when people click on the ad, they got something to read. Now we do a couple of short form posts just to see how do they work out. Sometimes short form posts will get us cheaper leads, but they're not opening stuff as much because they're not as qualified. But I like the long form posts to pre-qualify people. We test some short form posts. The reason I say the video hooks just gives you some ideas. Hooks give you a really good idea for headlines as well too. I show in the advertising primer essentially, or I showed this in the training recently. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Where essentially what we do is we use an AI, part of GPT. It's someone's GPT I have access to that has analyzed thousands of TikTok videos for opening hooks and stuff like that. That's why I like to say I like to bring in 5 video hooks. And then if you have a 1-minute video, I like running 1-minute videos. I'll be really quick with this on why. If you run a video over 2 minutes long, there are only about 3 or 4 placements on Facebook that people can see that video. Like the Facebook feed, Reels. That's it. It's not going to get shown in the Instagram feed. I guess Instagram Reels are a little bit longer. It's not going to get shown in stories and stuff like that. So we just like to say, hey, we encourage you to make a 1-minute video. We like to have clients when they come to us, They have probably 10 to 15 different videos that we're going to be testing. FYI, as a little tip, is like in the invisible list, is essentially what ends up happening is we may have, let's say, 15 videos to test. That gets expensive for each video at $20 a day. It's really inexpensive to test $1 a day within 5 to 7 days to know, is that video, is that video actually working or not? That's one of the things we talk about in ethical propaganda, where we'll take a video, upload it, run it for 5 to 7 days. Are people stopping the scroll? Are they watching the hook? Are they watching the video? After 5 to 7 days, you can see, oh my goodness, people are watching this. We should turn it into a conversion ad. And then that's where you invest your $20 a day campaigns into. But that's just how we make our videos safe and pre-qualify people. And then, of course, generate 10 images. Now, just to be clear, most people are going to see your image first, read your copy second. So your image is going to have to be really stand out, or you're going to have a really good hook inside of your video. Nick and I have a friend that's an affiliate that makes about $100,000 a month net. And I met him ran into him at a copywriting conference. And I'm like, dude, what are you here for? And he's telling me he has this affiliate business, how much money he's making. And I'm like, what are you here for? He's like, if I can figure out the hook in the first 3 seconds to keep people on for 15 seconds, it drops my cost per click so low, all of my affiliate campaigns just start working just by changing the hook. And then one of the other things that we show inside of the AI Primer, or to set up everything with AI, is literally how to take these hooks, which will end up making videos for you. This targets the exact right person at the exact right time. It's a little crazy, but what we're finding right now, images work great for clicks, but if you want to pre-qualify people, a 1-minute video and a long form post, I don't want to say it's going to ultimately fix your problems, but if you have problems with people like registering, not showing up for a webinar, they registered to book a call, but they don't show up, running some videos with some long form posts as your conversion ads, and long form posts and videos with that $1 a day ad can really push people over to make sure they're seeing your content on a regular basis. All right, here's the other kind of fun thing. It's interesting. So sorry, I want to back up and make sure I complete this thought right here. So if you're listening right now and you've already been writing content, you have some videos that are already made, go ahead and grab that stuff as we go over for the next steps. I'm going to be going over a demo here in a minute, so you can listen in the background for kind of the next 15 minutes. One of the things that Nick and I like to do is we like to leverage AI for creatives. That's how we created, obviously, all the images here. Actually, truth be told, I talked to a couple of my friends to tell them how the strategy worked. We actually took that transcription, put it into AI. AI created a lot of the training for us. Of course, Nick and I had to move it around, but the layouts and stuff, images like what you see here, it would take Nick and I weeks to make presentations like this versus days. Images like this, I'm not really a creative person. I couldn't even dream of an image like this. What I would do is I would go to stock images and I would spend, an hour or two looking for 1 or 2 images. It just blows my mind how much time I wasted. So now we leverage AI a lot for images because it creates images like this that the click-through rate is just ridiculous on. Incorporate animated effects. We actually like doing little 3 to 5 second videos as well, where we take a cartoon character, animate it, have it say a voice, showcase user-generated content. Hands down, like Nick and I could do an entire training on this. User-generated content, your people giving you testimonials. Like for you all, I want to make sure that I give the best training possible where you get every single question answered and you are able to implement this, because not only have we earned your trust with your hard-earned money to get here, but I would be honored to have a testimonial from you. 2 reasons. 1, it's really flattering to have a testimonial from you. 2, I have a friend of mine who sold over $20 million in courses in the last 7 years. And he's like, when a lot of people don't understand my program or what the features and benefits are, I write less copy and have more testimonials. If I have more testimonials, I don't even have to worry about the headline as much. For our clients right now, testimonial ads, user-generated content, hands down converts better than anything else. Almost any kind of copy or creative we can make internally. Now, I'm not saying every single testimonial does well, but if we work with an influencer who knows how to make TikTok style type of videos, for example, or we have an editor that can take a regular testimonial and turn it into the captions at the bottom, the TikTok, like right now, user generated content is dropping ad costs by such a huge difference. I have consulted so many people on, here's how you go out. Here's not necessarily how you reach the influencers, but here's what you're going to say. Here's how you're going to set up the offer. because you actually can see a 20% to 50% decrease in your cost per sale or lead by having the right type of endorsement, either from a well-known individual or a user-generated content that really loves the content. I can't stress to you enough, getting testimonials from people can fix a lot of your copy problems and your ad problems. We have a client right now that we actually just run a testimonials and a one-line headline. We don't even put anything in the ad, one-line headline, because that 1-minute video pre-qualifies people, and we spend about $10,000 a day on 1-minute videos with one headline because the user-generated content's so good. Utilize engaging content, long-form post, make it interesting. There's so many people seeing so many different advertisements right now. The presentation that Nick and I did recently with the whole kind of getting ready with AI, Nick did a slide where it was like you're inundated with 15,000 different ads a day now or more, between computer, driving around, billboards, radio, what you're listening to, Pandora, whatever. How does everyone stand out? I don't think this is about you standing out. I think making the ad creatives aligns with the belief system of your prospect, and that should be huge. It's not, how am I different than everyone else? Yeah, that takes part of marketing, but it's like, how do we get on the same page and agree that what I'm offering is absolutely your solution, not a commodity? So it's part of brand building as well too. Okay, for those of you who are going out and getting headlines, great. For those of you who would like to get a hack, it's called free ad copy. I'm going to show you this. If you want some free credits, you can go ahead and go to yourad.coach, free ad copy. I'm going to do an over-the-shoulder demonstration here in a second. It was created by a $1 billion copywriter, Stephen Georgi, brilliant individual. It utilizes, actually, I forgot to update the slide. It utilizes ChatGPT. It also utilizes Claude, utilizes some other AIs, and it can outperform some of your ads that you're running. It can help you write email copy. Literally, it helps write a bunch of copy for us. So if I'm in a crunch and I need really quick copy and I don't have time to program the AI, watch what I do from here. Oh, by the way, so Nick and I were talking yesterday. We're like, oh, hey, I wonder if free ad copy can do images. So we went in, typed in an image, and then many of you saw this on my Facebook today. That's a pretty good image. I would never be able to find that through stock photos. This is great. And then Nick and I did a cheesy little thing about putting the final touches in the micro budget after, we're going to talk about it, made this cheesy kind of post that really resonated with people. But the creative juices can really get flowing when you're making sure that you're hitting the right prompt. Okay, Nicholas, let's go ahead and dive on in. Again, if you want some free credits, you can go to yourad.coach, free ad copy. Let me show you how to take this puppy for a spin. I am kind of curious, out of all, if you wouldn't mind in the chat here, how many people have heard of free ad copy before? If you've ever heard of it before, just curious. I probably use this maybe every 2 weeks. Okay, great. Lots of people have not heard of it yet. Okay, so I'm in free ad copy. Watch this. It'll explain how it works. There's credits that you get right here. I bought like a limited time offer plan where I got a whole bunch of credits all at once, which is great. Look at all of these templates. AI Mini VSL, AI Mini VSL Expert, physical, third-party endorsements, more of an upsell script, testimonial advertorial. So this is a mini video sales letter, help you sell more stuff. Email copy, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, advertorial ads. So let's just go to templates. Facebook ads, that's why we're here, right? Look at all these different types of hooks. So what Stefan has done is he's programmed in his neurotic tendencies to get very specific about certain hooks, emotional feelings, triggers. It's all buried in all these different templates. So let's just say I go to My Little Secret. So let's click on My Little Secret. Now, when I click on My Little Secret, there's all this information I need to fill in. Who's your target market? What's your biggest pain point? Now, if you have a document like this, you could copy and paste here, but a copy and paste is sold 2022. Or what you do is you create this button right here, create from a data from URL. Click on this, and then you can put in your website. Now, I'm working with a client that is doing some motivational training, and I put their website in here. And it thought that all the information for the avatar was that this was a gym. So that's not right. So sometimes this works out really good, sometimes it doesn't, but watch. If I have all of this stuff right here, like I do in my advertising framework, come down here, share the link, copy the link, watch this, go to free ad copy, watch this, post in the link, let's hit submit. We're gonna have the AI bot talk to itself for just a minute. It's gonna look over all of our information about our offer, our landing page, target market, our sales propositions, and then all of a sudden, this is for a client that we're working with, so this is mine. It answers all the questions for me. And then I'm going to click this button. Let's just see here. I'm going to get Claude to write some stuff for me. So I'm going to generate an ad. I'm going to click a button. So this works with video sales letters. This works with email templates. This can help you with sales pages. It's not really accurate if it's good if you're going off of your website. Like your website should have most of the information, but this document really should have all of your information, and your landing page is just a small part. In my opinion, I want to make sure I'm pulling all the data. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to get people as a lead form. I want to make sure people are $10 leads. This is my perfect avatar. I want to make sure all that's answered. And then look what we have here. The hidden hat keeps you. I don't really like that. Sick of throttled data. Discover the flexible plan techies are using to rave about. Oh, okay. My ultimate goal, when I show people how to write copy and stuff like this from AI, I just want options. Sometimes you can sit there and write 5 headlines and take an hour and a half because you're really thinking them out. I'd rather ask AI and have it give me 30 different headlines, and I pick my favorite 5. So that's why I had some of you do the exercise where you already have the copy. Great. And if you don't have the copy, here's how you can plug and play really quickly, especially if you have a website. Okay. Let's just see. I'm just really curious because I actually got a sweet deal as an unlimited plan. I have not looked at this yet. Let's do AI Mini VSL. Ooh, look at all those questions it asks. Very good question. Oh, by the way, what I forgot to do, because I'm just not that smart, is once I fill this stuff out, I don't have to reprogram it every single time. I just have to hit a button to save the whole thing. But I'm just curious. There were a lot of questions here. Yep. Oh, see, so watch. I'm going to click this. Now, free ad copy is going to memorize all this content. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Let's generate that video sales letter. It's interesting because like I've used Jasper AI before, and there's templates in there from a good friend of mine, John Benson. He has some older templates in there he put in there, I think like a year and a half ago. And you just got to think through a lot of stuff and fill out a lot of information. But now, because you're able to upload directly into ChatGPT, that's what Nick and I just got done with the training, is to create the advertising framework. We basically give people all these documents that literally they hit a button to upload the document. It uploads, it asks like 3 or 4 questions. And then it tells you what to do next. You upload another document. It takes in all this information. It tells you exactly what to do next. So this way you create a page that absolutely can be used everywhere for anytime you want to use an AI. If you find a new AI, here's how you can quickly enter in your information and run. And let's see here. What did this pull out? It's a little hard for me to see. Oh, that makes a lot better. So this is all about white labeling local mobile applications that you can basically sell to small businesses. So I'm just reading it very quickly. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. So again, if you haven't checked out free ad copy, do that. I'm going to show you just one more thing. If I go over here to free ad copy, right here, they also have image generator. You can say, let's see here, dog, or let's see here, elephant. If I can spell eating tacos. Should be pretty quick. And there's a couple of different styles you can do. Again, there's a lot of other kind of platforms out there. I just like free ad copy. So as we're moving over to these next step-by-step pieces, you can play with this kind of in the background if you want to grab some headlines, or if you just want to create an image or two, but all really quick. That's interesting. I don't know. Okay, let's get back to the presentation. We'll get right back on it. Hope you all enjoyed that little break. I'll show you a new tool. Okay, let's get started. Let's set up all this stuff together. Here's the next one. Demo time. All right, here's the step-by-step. Now, if you are new and you are just learning this, just watch and you can implement it later. If you already know this and you've already hit these buttons, feel free to implement along. If you are an expert, yeah, just listen to my voice and you'll know how to click through stuff. You'll know exactly what to do. So this is basically going inside of Ads Manager, hitting the create button. We're going to create a campaign. Again, all we're going to be talking about today is leads and sales. That's it. Do we talk an invisible list and some of the other stuff we do? We talk about all of this others. I don't ever talk about app promotion. We just don't really do that. But all of this others can be run for $1 a day, but these are the ones that need at least $20 a day to really run right. All right. All right. So what I'm literally showing you is button click by button click of exactly what to do. So you create the campaign, you choose if it's leads. Right now, what I am training on specifically is you're going to click on manual lead campaign. If you're running leads, if you're running sales, manual sales campaign. Do I use Advantage Plus and the other settings? Yes. Do they work? Yes. Is it part of this training? No. Requires higher budgets. That's the biggest thing. Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Sorry, Mark. I'm a kid from Nebraska who learned word association, not phonics. So my spelling abilities and my phonics abilities are horrible. So I apologize. I've been trying to work on that, but that is why Nick has been my lifelong business partner. So yeah, I will work on that. Budget allocation. So we've already talked about this before. So when we're getting set up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the campaign, and we're just going to figure out, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to start at $10 a day, $20 a day, or $30 a day? Is it $20 a day, $30 a day, $40 a day for conversions? What do we want to do? Okay. We're going to select CBO. This is the campaign level. We set up the campaign, selected leads or sales. We're going to turn on CBO. You're going to put in your budget. That's it. What I'm going to do for the lead example, again, you can go ahead and click on, hey, we want to target people to my website. That means you have an opt-in page, or you've set up instant forms with Facebook. Have we seen instant forms work? Absolutely. Have we seen instant forms get in a whole bunch of cheap leads that don't do anything? Absolutely. Is there a big key difference on how you should run lead forms when you follow up with people? Yes. If you're just trying to collect leads and then hope that you'll email them within a week or two or whatever and follow up, lead forms are horrible. If you have a way that you follow up with people through email, text messaging, phone calls, like you are aggressive in your follow-up, lead campaign, instant lead forms can absolutely work. If you don't know the difference between instant lead forms and websites, that is for another training at another time. Just wanted to give feedback for people who are on the call who want to understand the differences with what Nick and I saw with the $10,000 Facebook test that they gave us in December. The only thing I'm going to be talking about here is purchase conversions for websites, sending people to a website and getting a purchase. Does the micro budget strategy work in website and shop? Yes. Does it work with website and app, messaging applications, calls? I've tested it on calls and it works, but I haven't tested it on the other ones. I'm only going to be talking about website here. Okay. All right. All we're going to do here is select and maximize leads. Or I think I have, yep, select or maximize leads or select and maximize sales. That's it. You're going to see that there's a little button down there that says cost per result goal. I use that when I'm scaling. Again, that's a completely different training, right? And by the way, when I'm saying, hey, it's a completely different training, like I'm just trying to get this through my head as well too. It's really to show, hey, I want to keep really focused on this one thing. Hey, if you would like to, there's other opportunities for the other trainings. We would literally spend hours going over all the nuances, and I want to make sure anybody of any skill level can just click, get all this set up here really quick, and then the nuances, we can talk about later or train later. So the cost per result goal, that can absolutely be used later. I don't use that in the micro budget setting stuff up now. I do use cost per result goal once I've had about 100 leads, and then I set it up in a specific way to run that. And again, I don't want to complicate it here. When I first started out, I do not run dynamic ads. My brother and I have an argument over this. My brother owns an advertising agency in Nebraska that we partner with. He's been in business for 20 years, does a lot of TV, radio, billboard, traditional marketing. We use a lot of branding and that traditional marketing actually in the belt method. That's where I didn't know how to explain all the stuff we did before that we had worked with my brother on. And then once I won the belt, it's, oh my goodness, this is how we work with people: belief, engage, lead, and transact. Oh, that makes sense. That's what you always do with traditional marketing. So anyway, with dynamic creatives, the argument that my brother and I have is he doesn't think that $20 a day allows dynamic ads to serve enough and enough combinations. And I'm just either it's going to work or it's not. We had a question earlier, and I'm going to dive into this deeper here in just a little bit, but we had a question earlier that was like, but Kurt, if you're going to test all these headlines, well, which one works? Here's where I've gotten to the point of, yes, I want to improve on what works. But if I enter 5 headlines, 5 descriptions, 10 images, and I run it, and my cost per goal is half, or my cost per lead or cost per purchase is half, I don't care where it comes from. I just want more of it. And there are some reports that I can double down into it. But a lot of times what I've found is the more information I give Facebook within reason, besides a budget, sometimes Facebook just figures it out. And as long as my cost per goal is below a certain level, I'm good. The whole saying of pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. I don't want to be greedy. So if I'm at my CPA, I don't really need it much lower. It can be a little bit lower, makes my funnel work. But I don't use dynamic creatives out of the gate. It's something I test later, and I will absolutely show you how to test that today. Okay, Advantage Plus audiences. I covered this earlier in concept. The concept is, let's target interests first. Once the interests work, then I come in and I literally duplicate the campaign. I'll even show you this in a live example. I duplicate the campaign of interests that are working. I go through and I click the button that says switch to Advantage Plus campaign. And that's it. And then I just run another test again. But in this situation, it's already, excuse me, it's the best way to say this without sounding negative. Facebook is set up in a way that the most layman person can hit the green buttons to move forward to the next step. Facebook wants to make their ad platform so quote unquote easy to use. Anybody with no marketing experience, no background experience can hit click, click, and have stuff run for them. The problem is an advertiser like myself or savvy marketers like yourselves, no, you don't want Facebook just to figure it out and take your money. You want to have that cattle corral where you're telling Facebook exactly what to do, exactly what to target, exactly. Most people don't know how to do that. So by default, Facebook is set up to get broad targeting, take your money, and have you figure it out. I'm saying in this value proposition, no, we're going to get super specific on who we're targeting, our avatar, our headline, our description. We're going to get super specific in our interest targeting, in our placements. We're going to get very targeted with our copy when we're running our ad. It's going to make a huge difference for just taking a little bit of extra time. Facebook is set up to steal your lunch money by saying, hey, do you want to use Advantage Plus audiences right away? No, you want to switch to original audiences. And then, of course, Facebook, because they're like a casino, there's actually a question right here that says, are you sure? You could get a 33% lower cost. Where does that 33% number come from? Can't really find out. No, switch to original audience. And here is where you're going to go ahead and if you know how to run exclusions to exclude previous leads and sales, you can do that. If you don't know how to set up custom audiences, retargeting audiences, that's a different training. But this is, of course, where you're going to exclude anybody you don't want to target, anybody who's already a lead or sale. Here's the, sorry, I made a mistake. I took this screenshot a little bit lower. This is interest targeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to go to AI and I'm going to say, hey, AI, remember that big list you gave me for 30 different interests? Give me very specific, like right here, personal development enthusiast I talked about. Give me 30 different options of targeting options from the personal development enthusiast. Give me 30 different options that are inside this type of cohort. Now Claude or ChatGPT, they don't know the interest targeting in Facebook. They're just going to give you some guesses. So even if a quarter of these are you can actually target, you're still going to win because you're diversifying the cohort you're sending traffic at. Yeah, I saw some comment here from Michelle saying, yeah, I laugh at those 33% lower conversion nonsense. Yeah, they're just like, hey, they're basically saying, hey, monkey, push this button. You may make more money or maybe not. But it's like going to the casino and pulling the slot machine. You may make some money, but most of the time you're sitting in a place that's huge and made of gold from other people's money. That's how it works, right? All right, so I want to get very specific interest targeting. When I do the very specific interest targeting, I'm going to find, let's just say out of all of these 18 different interest clusters, let's just say this one right here where I can get 30 different interests. I might get, I don't know, let's just say 10 interests that are found within Facebook after I get this whole list of personal development. And once I do that, then I'm just going to click the suggestion button a couple of times to suggest for me some more targeting. A lot of the suggestions that I get in Facebook are just more broad, but sometimes it's part of a cohort, like part of a clique, part of a small group. So if I put in 15 interests of people who are interested in motivational books, and then I hit the suggestion button, sometimes I'll get 3 or 4 or 5 other interests. What I'm looking for is not necessarily to test 20 different interests with $20 a day to see what interest works and then put those interests together. No, let's create a cohort. That's what works best. Oh, all these types of people like real estate and really read real estate investing books. And there's 35 books that AI says I can target. There's only 10 books that I can actually target. But then I hit the suggestion button and Robert Kiyosaki comes up and Dave Ramsey comes up. Oh, those are ideas I didn't consider. This is great. I'm trying to make the biggest audience possible, but not by big targets of, oh, I want to target plumbers. No, I want to target plumbers who are of this income level, who are interested in this type of stuff. I want to put a bunch of different people together who are related to your audience and your offer. Okay. I do not click this button right here. It's almost like a back alley way to take even more of your money to say, oh, I know that you didn't want Advantage Plus targeting when you first came in here. I know that you just filled out all the detailed targeting, but by the way, if you'd like to fill out this reach beyond people detail, I don't do that right now because I want to be able for you to tell me or me to tell a client, hey, look, I am targeting the specific interest. Are you targeting a lookalike audience, wide audience? No, I'm targeting plumbers in California. Okay, great. Now that you're targeting plumbers in California, what's the exact copy that you're writing for plumbers in California? So then we can start looking at stats to realize, okay, what does this look like targeting plumbers in California with plumbers of California type of content? What are those numbers? Oh, those numbers look good. Let's go ahead and click on this. If you click on this before you know your numbers, how do you know it's working? How do you know it's not? The big question, right? All right. Now, placements. I'm just going to tell you, I don't use Advantage placements. I don't know where Facebook ever came up with their marketing where they named everything Advantage Plus. Would you like Advantage Plus budget optimization? You mean CBO? Would you like Advantage Plus audience? You mean like your AI audience? Would you like Advantage Plus enhanced targeting? Would you like Advantage Plus placements? It's wow. Okay. But Advantage Plus is basically Facebook's AI. Facebook just doesn't say Facebook AI. This is the branding name Advantage Pluses, but you want to think Facebook's AI. Now, do I use automatic placements sometimes? Absolutely. With a proven offer, bottom of funnel? Absolutely. But why do I not use automatic placements all the time? Because I can't say this enough. Facebook's set up for monkeys to hit the button, to hit the next button, to take some money, and hopefully the monkey gets a treat. If the monkey doesn't get a treat, Facebook still makes their money. I want to make sure that I'm telling Facebook exactly what to do. So starting out, you're going to click the button, show me more options. You're going to click the button that says manual placements. Here's what the manual placements look like. Feeds. Here's the way that I like to run this. This is my personal opinion. Facebook feed. Facebook feed I can run as long as video as I want. I can have a long form post as long as I want. I don't know. I've never put down like a whole novel, so I haven't tested that one. But Facebook feed is going to show my headline, my image, my long form post. People can read the post. Now, if you're scrolling through your friend's Facebook profile, that's where sometimes you start to see ads at now. I want you to keep this in mind. Facebook makes money by placing ads. Duh, Senator. Hey, how do you offer a free platform? Senator, we run ads. Remember that cheesy line? The more placements that Facebook can make, it's more money machines. They make more money. So Facebook's always coming up with placements to charge you for. Remember when you used to go to your mom's feed, and you would scroll down your mom's Facebook feed, there wouldn't be any advertisements in her feed. And then someone from Facebook, that would be a great idea if we put advertisements in people's personal feeds and they still don't get paid for it. Instagram, I run stuff on Instagram because obviously there's a lot of people on Instagram. Instagram profile feed. See this? They made 2 new ways to target people. Profile feed, Instagram feed. Okay. Marketplace. This is just me. This is just my opinion. If you are selling, like I know somebody here, Jim, that I really respect, he sells jewelry, Celtic jewelry. That's when I may run inside of the marketplace, because essentially inside of marketplace is people are looking for stuff to buy. Now, I want to say this with all due respect, especially with Jim and like the Celtic jewelry, is if it's really good images of products, that can look good in the marketplace. But if you have an AI image of someone stressed out that you want them to opt in for a webinar to de-stress, it's like I'm trying to sell my coaching business at someone's garage sale. Now, again, I don't want that to be disrespectful again to the jewelry business, because jewelry kind of fits in there because you're buying those types of items. But many times I remove Facebook Marketplace, because if you look at Facebook Marketplace on your phone where the ads are, it's like an image, 3 letters of the headline. That's it. It's a really bad placement for the most part, just because again, it's just one of those wasted placements. Facebook video feeds. When you are scrolling through your phone watching videos, Facebook knows TikTok, the right time, the right place for people to watch videos. This is where we actually leverage the $1 a day strategy a lot. Just this one single placement, no other placements, just this one placement, because it forces Facebook to watch the people on Facebook to watch the video at the right time. I can have 30 to 40 minute long webinars that I run in Facebook video feeds that people will watch it for 20 to 30 minutes for 10 to 20 cents. So I love video feeds. This doesn't have a right-hand side column. There's just right-hand side column's great, but it only shows on desktop. It doesn't really show a really great image. It doesn't really show a really great headline. Right-hand side can make some sales, but like it's going to bring you in a handful, not like 90% of your sales. So most of the time I unclick it, because again, in a cold market, top of funnel especially, I want to pre-qualify my people with copy. A right-hand side ad gives me a headline. There's no pre-qualification of copy there. A right-hand side ad makes sense in middle of funnel and bottom of funnel, so people can retarget on my imagery that they're used to. But the right-hand side ad for a top of funnel acquisition, just for the most part, usually doesn't work very well unless, again, I'm going to go back to gym stuff like a necklace. A good looking necklace on the right hand side, that's great. A picture of micro budgets on the right hand side just doesn't explain enough in just a micro headline, and that's it. So, okay. And then Instagram Explorer, I usually uncheck Instagram Explorer because it's just a collage of a whole bunch of other kind of pictures. Sometimes your ad just doesn't really stand out there. Facebook Business Explorer, it's a placement, but I don't really see much come from it. So I just put the checkbox on there, but it's not like I probably see maybe 3% of sales come from there. Here's the other thing. Oh, I want you to think about all these placements for a second. Any video over 2 minutes long will only run right here and here. That's why we tell people to do 1 minute videos. If your video's over 2 minutes long, it runs in less placements. So all I maybe want you to know. Why do we want to do 1 minute videos? Because if we do 2 minute videos, it runs in less places. Moral of the story. Okay? Stories. Now, I use this sparingly, and here's what I mean by that. If you have a regular square video, you will see text below the video on Reels and Stories because Facebook needs to reformat because you have a square video and it's not like the exact format of a Reel. That square videos in Stories and Reels can actually be a place where people can read some of your copy. Great. Because if you load a really colorful Reel format, what is it, 1920 by 720, is that right? For kind of the Reel format. But if I'm running the Reel format and I have a bunch of colors in my video and someone tries to click to see more to read the text, like it just doesn't work very well. So if I am going to have a video that really pre-qualifies people, I'm always going to run it in Instagram Reels, Instagram profile Reels, and Facebook Reels. I love Reels. Lots of people are watching Reels. As you see when you scroll down your Facebook page, there are lots of people investing into Reels. People are watching and scrolling through Reels. They're buying through Reels. Now, Stories is a little bit different. I don't know anybody that uses Messenger Stories. I think they're dumb. Instagram and Facebook Stories. These are short stories that are like 15 seconds long. So if you have 15-second videos, that makes sense. If you have a 30-second video, they'll cut it into 2 different videos for you. But if you have a 5-minute video that you're trying to talk to people about, it's going to cut you off after 30 seconds, because the next play would be 45 seconds. But then your 5-minute long video only gets seen by 45 seconds. Just know the play times. If you're running a 1 minute video, if you're running a 5-minute reel, it's going to show right here. It's going to show right here and here, but it won't show in any of these. So again, I usually remove Instagram Stories and Facebook Stories unless I have a 15 or 30-second video that I am running. And images work great in these placements too. So if I'm running images, the placements work great. If I'm running a video over 15 seconds, I question if I'm going to run this in Stories or not. In-stream video. I deselect this. This is, again, where Facebook takes your money. Because what happens is if you've ever been watching, you watch a video and you get to a climax and this ad comes through and it's 15 seconds long. When done right, I teach this in the $1 a day strategy. When done right, we can run $1 a day and force people to watch these 15-second videos where people will watch a 15-second video, like a reminder for a webinar, a reminder that Black Friday is happening, a reminder that the sale is ending soon. People will watch these 15-second videos for 2 or 3 cents, which is amazing. But if you upload a 1-minute video and do automatic placements, Michael's on this call, he knows, we've talked about it lots of different times. All of a sudden, Michael's uploaded this really great 5-minute video. Why did this not work? Because automatic placements was turned on. The in-stream video, Facebook's only showing 15 seconds of your video, and then people skip it. There's no way to read your long form post or watch the rest of the video, nothing. It's just a way to take your lunch money. So if you are running a 15-second video, great, run it in stream. If your videos are longer than 15 seconds, a prime reason why I deselect in-stream videos. By the way, people should be burning dumpsters in the streets with this ads on Facebook Reels. The ads on Facebook Reel isn't for an entire reel. It's those little ads that you can cover up with your thumb at the very bottom of someone's reel, which has a thumbnail that's literally smaller than your actual thumbnail. Can't see the image, can't see the video. There's 3 or 4 letters for the headline. It's a new placement that's come out where there's a lot of ads on it, and nobody clicks on it. It's horrible. So again, it's another way for Facebook steal your money. These are the two ways that I see Facebook steal more money from people who are running videos as conversion ads than anything else. So make sure you deselect it. The last thing on here for placements, I personally deselect audience network reward videos. A reward video is, for example, when I used to mountain bike a lot more. Now I live in an area, Nick, you have told me that there's great trails around here. I really got to take a look at that. But when I used to mountain bike a lot, I would use this app called Track My Run. And when I would do the Track My Run app, because I use a free version, every time that I was done running or bike riding, I would hit the button, it would calculate everything up. Before I could see my calculations of my calories, distance, stuff like that, it would have a video that I would be forced to watch for 15 to 30 seconds for advertising to pay for the free app before I could see my stats. That's not qualified. That's just forcing someone to watch something so they can engage with their video. That doesn't help anybody. So I absolutely remove those. Now, I do play with this link right here. Sometimes I turn it off, sometimes I turn it on. And basically what this does here is this is like ads running on other third-party sites. So truth be told, when I am running videos and when I'm running any ads top of funnel, cold market, I deselect this option here when I am running traffic to a cold market top of funnel. Because if you are reading, so for Emma, for example, who has a trading program, if I go to CNN Money, I am going to see Emma with her picture on CNN Money because that's one of the places that Facebook serves these audience ads. And I'm going to see her picture and I'm going to see maybe a headline. That's it. Now, if she is scaling traffic and she is catching people with a really catchy trading headline and her image is just rocking it, the audience network may work. But typically, from a cold market standpoint, there's not enough brand awareness to pre-qualify people. Again, notice I said if Emma has a dialed in offer, if she's just really looking for the click because she's really dialed it in, yeah, then top of funnel, she may have an ad that's served with her image and a headline on CNN Money, and people click on it and that works. But for the most part, we're really looking for people to read a long form post, read the headline, watch the video, and really pre-qualify themselves. We're not looking for more placements. We're looking for more qualified prospects. We're going to look at our content and then click the next button. So top of funnel, I remove all of this. I never click on audience network. Middle of funnel, like if people have engaged with Hema's brand and then they see Hema's face in a CNN article or a CNN ad that says one line about, I'm totally making this up, I know nothing about trading, follow the trend with swing trading. Now people can recognize her and click on the ad and that makes sense. But like, other than that, don't use this top of funnel. All right, let's move on to the ad level, set up some ads. So setting up your ad creative. I'm gonna make this really easy. You can use an existing post for the micro budget campaigns. I use a lot of existing posts for micro budget campaigns, or you can create a new ad. Works either way, doesn't matter. You can use a single image, video, carousel, collection ad. If you don't know what a collection ad is, I don't really use them a whole lot. We can talk about that kind of, it's in different training for another time. Most people are going to use single image or videos. Some people are going to use carousels, which is those are where you have 4 or 5 images where people will swipe over different images. Those can work really well in carousel. Like for instance, with Jim Celtic jewelry, carousels probably work really well because it gives people because typically what will happen is Facebook will figure out which image the person's going to like to pique their interest. And then they can slide through inventory over to the right. Carousel works really great for that. Okay. Now, I also deselect this. Again, this is just another way for Facebook to steal your money. Most of the time, most people don't know what this distinction is for. And this is why I wanted to spend time going through all the button clicks. Okay. This is already automatically checked for Facebook to take more of your money. But what is it? It's multi-advertiser ads. So here's what this means. It's screwed up. So we have a client that we work with who was on Shark Tank, who is a big shoe company. It's a barefoot running shoe company who uses lots of micro budgets. But this is, yeah, they're like a $70 million a year company right now. They just posted their earnings, so I can say that. They're a $70 million company who runs micro budgets for most of their ad campaigns for Facebook and Instagram. So I'll actually show you, an example. I have to block out the name, but I'll show you an example here in just a little bit. But here's why I deselect this. So imagine my shoe client, right? My shoe client, they're a $70 million company, and we've been scrapping with them since they were $2 million. We want to make sure that we are advertising the right person with the right type of creative at the right time, the right user-generated content. We've done everything possible to make sure this works, and someone sees our shoes online. Yes, they click, they read, they are in. Yes, they click, and then they go to our website, and they're looking at shoes, and then they're like, oh, hey, the kid's calling me, I got to run, and then they just leave the site, right? They close their phone, they go do something else, and then they come back. Or if they close the ad right there. Actually, it would work this way. If they close the ad right there because they didn't buy, then I'm going to see a bunch of suggested ads underneath me to buy shoes. So me and my client worked really hard to get our ad out there. If someone clicks on our ad and doesn't buy a shoe, it's going to show 5 to 10 other shoe companies that are close to my competitor. Now, on the swing side of it, you may say, well, wait a minute, Kurt, what about if I'm advertised next to my competitors? Yeah, but there's two problems. One, the ad itself, when you are advertising towards people who are looking for something that they weren't interested in, but are looking for something like yours, the problem is it's a small ad. Most people completely miss it. And that really small ad does not have any pre-qualifying content on it whatsoever. There's maybe a headline. Like it may say shoe 20% off. Like it wouldn't even say the name of the shoe or anything else. Right? The other thing, and the second side of it, is for multi-advertiser campaigns, there's no way to track, did it work or did it not? For example, oh, what ads did this show up with? Facebook won't tell you that. Oh, did this improve conversions? Facebook won't tell you that. The only thing you have to do is test it. So the reason I spend just a couple of minutes on this, because it's always a default setting. There's no way to know if it works or not. And really, if you put in all this work, like I just showed you how to do, and then someone doesn't buy from you right away or become a lead, then they show all of your competitors. No. So that's why I always uncheck it. Okay. And then it's simple. You're just going to go ahead and as we start scrolling down, they have this new section called ad resources. You put in your URL and Facebook will suggest copy for you in some really short form copy that's super bad. Like it is written by a third grader. Like, I'm not saying it has misspellings, but it has stupid emojis. It has nothing to do with your avatar, offer, funnel, any of that stuff. So really for this, for me, yeah, I don't like it at all. Or I don't fully understand it to be a more responsible adult, but everything I've seen here doesn't really help me at all. Setting up your ad creative. Now we're at the ad level. Okay. We're at the ad, excuse me for a second. Okay, we're at the ad level. Here's what we're going to do. If you are following along, now all you got to do is just add an image or one video. If you are running ads right now, already getting results, upload your control ad here. Either put in the ad ID or just take the video that's working for you right now, upload that here, take the image that's working for you right now, upload it right here. Again, if you're doing this with me, implementing it with me, you're uploading your content here, just an image or a video. Next thing, whoops, sorry, I wouldn't hit the back arrow. What I like to do is I add 3 long form posts and 2 short posts. So where the places for the description, again, long form post, 1,300 to 2,200 characters, because anything over 2,200 characters won't be shown on Instagram. And typically 150 to 750 characters for short form posts, or 150 to 1,000. Again, that's what we teach inside the advertising primer. But I like to do 3 long form posts, 2 short form posts. FYI, I have a client who used to work at Facebook, and they're going to depreciate. They're going to sunset. That means they're going to get rid of that button that says dynamic creative. Facebook wants you to put 5 different descriptions, 5 different headlines in here. Now, I can say this publicly because he said it on stage. Frank Kern's been a client for about 6 years now. And Frank writes brilliant copy, obviously. I've had access to Kern's accounts for years. And it's interesting to see a lot of the things he does. Now, he teaches this, so I can absolutely tell you this. Frank is so good at his offer, he uses 1 headline, 1 line in the description, sometimes 3 or 4 lines, and that's it. Now, Kern spends a lot of money. Kern spends a lot of money, so it's really relevant because people get to his site, and if you know who Frank Kern is and you watch any videos of his, man, he just talks in a way and tells stories in a way as I just want to give him money. But he's really good at converting people on his website. And his ads are relevant because people are getting to his site and some of the branding, stuff like that. By the way, I can say this as well too, because because I could even take a screenshot. And Frank just recently did a training on the dollar a day, I think about 2 weeks ago. I can take a screenshot where I set up the dollar a day strategy inside of his ad account that's actually been running for, I think it's 5 years at this point, to bring in some top of funnel traffic. So yeah, even the big gurus and the big guys who are running traffic's doing the dollar a day. But what Frank's doing, and I've had a conversation with him about this, where it's like, hey, look, I know you're good, so I don't want to give you advice on this, but I want you to consider this. Part of bidding in the Facebook auction is Facebook thinking what may happen with your ads and creatives. So with Frank, he only puts in one headline. I don't want to say only, I don't want to belittle it because he does great. He puts in a headline and puts in one description, and that's it. What I suggest is, hey, if you can do 3 long form posts and 2 short form posts, you're feeding the initial algorithm of, hey, look, is this really good, relevant content targeted to the right targeted area? So Facebook can work out a lot of this, not figuring what best headlines that people would just click on, but what is most relevant to the AI to be relevant to the avatar. Okay. So that's why I'm going to want to use my 3 different long form posts, 2 short form posts. It is a different training where I show you how to break that stuff out, analyze it. If you know how to do that, you can look in your reports underneath dynamic creatives. But again, for me, as long as it's below my cost per goal, I just let it run. I don't even really care which headline they're using, primary text, whatever. I add 5 different headlines here. I want to make sure it goes along with the long form post. But I'm not going to make a headline and then just change one word for the second headline. I want these headlines to be 5 completely different headlines. But this is really important for the next 2 things I'm about ready to say. Make sure that your headlines go along with your primary text. Because my friend Michael, who is on the phone, is a world-renowned NLP coach. He knows exactly what to say. Maybe that's why we became friends, because he knew exactly what to say at the right time to the right person. Like Michael's great at this. But the thing is, Michael wrote me and he's, Kurt, I spent all this time on my headline and my copy. He knows what to say. He wants to send people down that cattle chute. But the problem is, add 5 descriptions too. By the way, descriptions are only seen in the feed placement of Facebook and Instagram. So I put like maybe 1 line in here. It's a good idea to put 5 in here, but almost nobody sees the descriptions. This is what Michael contacted me about. Kurt, why did I write all these headlines in this long form post, and the first line of my long form post is my headline, and my headline is my post? What happened? Facebook happened because Facebook, you submitted some copy. We're going to target the right person at the right time with the right combination of words that we believe that they're going to engage with. And Michael I've spent half of my life becoming an expert of what to say to people. I don't need Facebook to change my word around. That makes it, honestly, and Michael, I want to say this with all due respect, I know this tongue in cheek, it sometimes makes Michael's brand to say, wait, what is he talking about? Well, he unequivocally knows what he's talking about. Facebook messed up the messaging. The thing is optimized text per person. Facebook has these other optimizations they want to quote unquote help you out with your ad. Sometimes when you set up different lead and purchase ads, it'll say, hey, do you want to advantage plus enhance these ads? It'll highlight the ads. It'll add some colors to the pictures. It does all these different types of highlights. Most of the times I turn a lot of that stuff off. Because, for example, what Facebook will do is they'll be like, oh, this is an image. Our enhanced images, this makes me so mad saying this. The enhanced images can have music behind them. So Facebook takes an image of yours. Now it can put your image in a Facebook reel or in a 15-second video with sound behind it, because quote unquote, now it's a video. Stealing your lunch money. That's why you gotta force placements. I have a client who does female breath work. And I accidentally hit the button to optimize per person, and Facebook was running an image of him with a really emotional moment with another woman as they were doing some breathwork experience. It's a really powerful photo, and it was playing like Tejano Mexican taco music for the underlying that inserted some music for the enhancements of the ad. It was so off-brand, it was bad. So if you have the ability, if Facebook asks you when you're creating ad creatives, do you want to enhance these images? Don't just hit the button and say okay to everything. Look through every single one and just think to yourself for a second, does this make sense that my image is turned into a 3D image? No, that doesn't make any sense. That's not what this is. Turn that thing off. Does it make sense for Facebook just to allocate any kind of music to your image? And they could place it now as in the video feed. No, I don't want that. I want my images to show where my images are. So unfortunately, in this example, I can't turn this off because quote unquote, Facebook's doing me a favor. But most of the time, everything we're teaching you now, this isn't a favor. All right. Next, call to action. You just get one call to action button. What's the difference between learn more, buy now? It's completely up to you to test it. I don't really see huge differences though. Actually, I know one person on this phone call, they're like, hey, if you use this button, people will opt in more. And we tested it and they opted in about the same rate, but I don't know. And then at the bottom, super simple, right? What's your website? Enter in your URL. You're going to enter in your displayment link. Great. And then 99% of you are going to select this, don't enter button. Most of you are not going to click a call where they're going to click a button to then call you directly. But I have run those ads with micro budgets. They absolutely work. Instant forms, completely different training. Instant experience, different training. And Facebook event, yeah, just completely different, just a little bit more advancement to it. This is all covered in the Belt Method Advanced Training, the training we're going to be doing. So creative considerations for micro budget campaigns. Test new creatives. I'm going to show you an easy little testing way that I like to get started, testing out some campaigns. But I like to tell clients, hey, look, I took this one ad, tested it between these 4 different cold audiences and a warm audience, and the ad didn't work at all. So I can tell within $150, sometimes $200 with an agency client, no, it's not going to work, which is a low dollar amount. A lot of you, I'm going to show you, hey, can you tell within $60 to $100 if your creative is going to work or what you want to test? Diversify creative testing. This is why I love AI more than anything else to help me set up the images, because I may have a realistic image or some crazy pencil sketch drawing, and that drops my lead cost in half because it doubles my click-through rate. So just test different types of creatives. Again, we cover all this in the AI primer. Excuse me. Okay, leverage dynamic creatives. Out of all of this being said, there is one time after you have been testing a bunch of ads where you are going to test a dynamic creative just to see if it works. It's one of those things like, okay, we're going to do this one specific test, and then we're going to get a little bit more into testing. And then by the time we get to step number 3, if we really want to get crazy on testing, we may hit dynamic ads just to see if it works. I just want to make sure that I'm uploading 5 images, 5 videos. I'm going to get in these specifics in a minute. 5 headlines, 5 descriptions, and I'll just let Facebook figure it out. Sometimes they'll figure it out for $20, sometimes they won't. But again, this is not what I don't test dynamic creative starting out. I want to make sure that I know that I'm going to show you the structure in a minute, that I am targeting the exact right audience at the exact right time with the exact right message, and then I can know if my messaging works or not. If I'm targeting lots of different interests with lots of different copy, I don't know if my messaging and my offer is going to work. So I'm not going to test dynamic creatives until I get baseline stats from creatives targeting very specific interest audiences. All right, I want to see if there's any questions, comments, divine revelations.
Cole said, have all my docs done. Did it after class yesterday.
Hey,
good job, Cole.
All right.
Reynaldo wanted to know, how long are long form when you were showing the long form copy?
Well, we typed this into AI as I'm looking for a long form post that's between 1,200 and 2,200 characters. 1,200 to 2,200, not over 2,200, because then it won't be shown on Instagram.
What are tips to pre-qualify people with videos and long form posts?
One of the things that I personally like to do is I tell clients is to run a bunch of $1-a-day strategy and run a bunch of $1-a-day strategy. So hypothetically, if I have 10 videos, I can run it for $1 a day, either the top of the funnel or middle of the funnel. And within 5 to 7 days, I can see, this is covered again in the invisible list and the reporting, but I can see what was the percentage of people that stopped the scroll, right? Scrolling on down, they stop. What was that percentage of people? I'm looking for at least 35% of people who stop. And then I'm looking for people who stop the next spot, 35% of people. I want to make sure this next group of people that they're actually watching from stopping the scroll for 15 seconds. And then I'm curious, how many people watch 15 seconds? Watch 25%, 50%, 75, ran out of fingers, 95%. I can start to see with the $1-a-day strategy, are people stopping the scroll? Are they watching the entire time? Typically, after $5 to $7, I can see people are stopping and they're watching at a pretty good rate. I now want to test $20 a day to run that to my audience. Now, if I was to explain this in a little bit different way with the client, and they're like, okay, but how do I know exactly what type of video to run? First question I'm going to ask, do you believe that we, or them, that you are targeting the right audience? Absolutely. Yeah, we are absolutely targeting the right audience. Great. Now, do we believe that our video is pre-qualifying people? Well, what do you mean pre-qualifying people? So for instance, if I do a 1-minute video and I start saying right out of the gate, hey, will micro budgets double your conversion? Just that right there, people may stop on the click because they're like, and then I'm going to start talking about meta ads. So if it's a 1-minute video and someone's watched 30 seconds and all I'm doing is talking about meta ads, And if I'm talking about meta ads, I'm just making this up, and I'm talking about analytics, typically that means that someone who's running ads who knows enough about ads to care enough about their analytics that, yeah, if they watch a full minute, they're probably going to be interested in this. If it's just a little chihuahua jumping up and down, eating a taco for 15 seconds, it doesn't pre-qualify anybody. So I like to always ask the client, okay, top of funnel, cold market. If someone watches the video, do we believe we're targeting the right person? Number one, yes, great. Do we believe if someone watches half of the video that it pre-qualifies, there's some cheesy balloons, that it pre-qualifies our audience? If yes, then I want to look at my ad stats. We cover the invisible list. Are people watching my video to the end? Are they stopping the scroll? Are they watching the video to the end? Because if they're stopping the scroll and then just clicking, I know they're interested in the scroll, but if they're watching the entire video and becoming a lead, I know that this is a higher qualified audience. So I do some of this through AI by taking a bunch of the transcripts of my videos, uploading it into the advertising primer, and it basically tells me, here are my 3 long form posts, 2 short form posts. And then I like to use like the advertising primer, for example, when we're in free ad copy and I'm looking for a longer form script, because it's really going to help me pre-qualify stuff more than anything else. I'm just going to be very honest with you, is a year ago, I couldn't do this. A year ago, I can get the concepts in my brain, but to hand write it all out or type it all out, it just takes a long time. Now I can ask just AI to give me all these different variations. And typically I'm looking for the long form to pre-qualify people, the video to pre-qualify people. If I'm targeting the right audience, they're consuming this content, does it get them closer to my heaven island to make sure it's the right person to be there?
Velvet asked what AI programs we use to create the images in the presentation. It's almost all ChatGPT, DALL-E. The cool thing, just to give you all a little bit of insight, this was all created in one ChatGPT stream. So we let it know what our theme was, what colors we wanted to use, what we were training on, so that every time we requested an image, it was able to keep them all in the same theme, same colors, all that sort of thing. So if you're big on branding, that sort of thing, it makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Let's see.
Oh, Andy did ask, what about search results? Middle of funnel, I'll include search results because I look at it like retargeting. The people already know the brand, and it's in search results. But like I ask everyone else, how often do you use Facebook to search for something? I just never do. And when you really look at, again, another part of another training, if you look at all the placement reports, it's very few traffic's even served there. So some people are like, there's not a whole lot of traffic served there. So I don't really care. But yeah, because it's like Office Space, the movie. If they can squeeze an extra penny or two out of you, they don't really care. You don't really care. And they can hit their, Nick, what did you see this? Somebody posted the other day. The Facebook earnings for last quarter was like 62 billion in profit. People are like, how did they get 62 billion in profit when they lost all this money with their Oculus stuff? Easy. They created 15 placements. And everyone's like, it just takes a little bit of money. It's not that big a deal. Sure. That's why Zuckerberg has a, what is it, $150 million yacht with a $50 million yacht that follows behind it just to gas it up. You pay for that. That's how he pays for it.
Reynaldo, with budget allocation, I originally understood that you would run multiple ad sets inside of CBO with identical audiences to creatives. Is that right? Am I understanding right?
I'm going to answer that question here in just a little bit.
What video ratio do you recommend? I think you went through that.
So just personally, what I like to do, just FYI, this is a really specific question. I like to do square 1x1 videos because they fit in all the placements and they also fit in reels and stories, but it lives a little text marks in there. Now, I do also like to use the reel format, and I know somebody corrected me in here, which is great. Thank you, Nicholas here. 1920 by 1080 or 9:16. When you're running reels, you just a reel type of format. The nice thing is you take up the entire real estate of the phone, right? And like the reel placement or in the news feed. The problem is what most people do is they have the captions that are too low, like right here. So all the text that comes up for the ad, the page name or some of the other text, you can't read the captions that are going on. Or someone's way too close like this. So when it runs the news feed of Facebook and Instagram, it looks like this. Just make sure if you're running the real format that you make sure that the captions are towards the middle and there's some room in the space of the head, because you're going to get cut off a little bit in the news feeds if you're running those real format videos. So Ed,
okay.
Sorry, I don't know where you're at. I'm just jumping into questions. I'll let you go through the questions. Sorry.
No, you may have been going through one I missed. Ed said what?
Now I just scrolled up, so I made sure I didn't lose your ratio. Ed was talking about local dentist patients. So Ed, so perfect example here. It's really good to see you as well. Ed has been a big supporter of us for many years. We have followed Ed for many years, and I appreciate speaking at your event. Ed is a brilliant marketer who's been around for a good long while. Ed, so specifically what I would do for like local dentists and stuff like that, I would actually be running directly in geographical locations that have your best customers. So let me give you a perfect example. Let's say here in Austin, Texas, just because I know this city, let's say that your customers are really good customers, but those people are out over in Westlake. These are people who are going to have veneers done. They're going to have higher end teeth. So this is just a little bit of engagement and education, in my opinion, some dollar a day stuff, some $20 micro budgets. But if I'm targeting over to the nice part of town, I'm talking about veneers. I'm talking about how easy they are, how painless they are. And I can just target the demographic area of people who match my overall demographics, not missing teeth, but here's their income, here's their zip code, where they live at. They could be a mom or a dad. Or the other things, I could target a mom or a dad for a pediatrician if I want to do something like that. I know that they have kids. Or if I'm looking for people with missing teeth, I could also target in certain geographical locations. Or I could even make a funny engagement ad that helps pre-qualify people. I guess I do one thing, like the guy who's missing a tooth that says, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, but we think we can fix the picture. Like something like that would probably generate a lot of really cheap clicks to get some pre-qualified people. But the other thing that I think about is actually for missing teeth, for you, dentist, that would be testimonials, hands down. It would be taking the testimonials, targeting your certain demographic, area, town, age range, income, and just do it. For you, it'd be a little bit more wide open targeting because you can't do, you're like, hey, are you missing a teeth? Do you have gum problems? But you can absolutely have a great testimonial of how someone came in, they had this issue. I felt so embarrassed. I didn't want to tell anybody. It took me a long time to come in, but let me tell you, it made a world of difference. That those types of ads, I think, would do really well for you, like top of funnel testimonials, middle of funnel, more education, like your interview stuff that you do. And then, of course, bottom of funnel, they become a lead, following up with testimonials even more. That's the way that I would do it.
So Mikolai's question right under that, could you clarify the difference between this add text option versus dynamic switch?
They're going to depreciate the dynamic switch, and it's going to end up being what I just showed you today. So what we're going to see here in the next couple of months or year or whatever, they're just going to remove that button at the ad set level. And we're going to be doing pretty much so the only difference now is if you hit the button at the ad set level for dynamic creative, it's going to allow you to upload 5 images, or it's going to allow you to upload 10 images or 10 videos or a combination of up to 10. Now with the kind of new dynamic ads, it's going to be 1 image or 1 video, and then the 5 different headlines, 5 different descriptions. Great question. Great distinctions. These are really smart questions.
And you may have answered this. Scott asked, how different is adding multiple headlines, etc., versus dynamic creatives?
It's the same thing. Facebook's making it the same thing. It's just the only difference is you hit the button at the ad set and you can upload 10 images or videos. Everything else is the same.
Hema, am I saying that right?
Hema, yep.
Hema, are you referring to the long form post as A, separate post to make you on your business page for engagement and targeting, or B, as the copy to use in the ad post?
Good distinction. Thank you, Hema. That's why I like having smart people here. I want to have a long form post that is my ad. I want people, when they see your face and it says follow the Hema always says follow the trend. I don't know. I'm just making this up. The dumbest thing is to follow the trend like a blind mouse. And then it's this long form post of you telling a story of how so many people follow the trend and they get lost to what everyone else is doing. But if you look for this one key indicator, that's what I'm looking for, is a longer form post that really gets into the emotion of the actual trade. Because the thing is, you can't show, hey, I made this much money, this better than anybody else. The emotional side of the trading, of losing or making a decision, just talking about the emotions can really pull people in with some long form posts to really pre-qualify them, in my opinion.
Scott asked, do you focus on testing the copy shown before the more option at the very top of the description?
Say that again.
When it says see more, do you test the copy that's shown before that? Do you split test the copy that's shown before that?
That's a yes. That's an advanced training, but yes, there's a way that you can use a custom metric inside to see, obviously, because Scott's asking the question, he knows this, but for everyone else, you know, when you see an ad, 1 or 2 lines and you have to hit the see more, if it's a friend's post, you'll see like a paragraph. When you click that see more, there's 2 things here. There is a way that you can look at the ad report to know how many people are clicking see more to read more. Yes. Clicking the see more button is a very strong signal to Facebook that your ad's relevant. So ideally, I would want people to click that see more button. So it shows that early relevance with Facebook and whatnot. But yeah, that's a really good question. That's an advanced part of the ad metrics, but a brilliant metric to look at when you get your baselines. Yes.
Amy asks, we've been testing memes and humorous content that match the copy as creatives to stop the scroll. Have you tested this on your end at all?
Yeah, Roland Frazier paid me a bunch of money to run ads for training once, and I thought it'd be a cute idea to have this little Mexican Chihuahua jump up and down and celebrate that it's Friday to get more event sales. And man, we got a whole bunch of clicks. And I thought tracking was broken. And Roland's, no, we just didn't sell any tickets whatsoever. I'm like, oh. So let me give you a perfect example. We have a client that works directly with the UFC. And sometimes Joe Rogan will give a call out to our client and the post just goes viral. And then we'll make a little content post off that post going viral. But we have to be really cautious because 90% of the audience of that post going viral doesn't really matter. So it's like getting people really interested to generate a whole bunch of clicks. That's scroll stopping, but we don't need scroll stopping. You need scroll stopping bottom of funnel. Like they are a lead and they're going to book a call. That's scroll stopping with a meme. Middle of funnel, when you are running engagement ads for $1 a day and you just want to keep people engaged, I think memes are great for our clinic or for our client that does the UFC stuff. We use lots of memes, but it's related to directly to the business. So let's just say, for a perfect example, it's I'm just going to make this up. It's that one meme where there's this fire around the cartoon character and he's just sitting there in his chair and it says still following the trend. That's a meme that people would know that ties in with your brand that could pre-qualify people. I really like something like that because it's like a peacocking, a memory recall of your brand and something funny and interesting. But I don't do stop the scroll just because it's interesting. I want to make sure that it's relating and pre-qualifying my brand. So I hope that helps. But that's what I would think about with your brand. Yeah.
Bogdan, following up on my previous question, I understand how to view the ad report and identify areas to optimize the funnel. However, there are times when the funnel or offer doesn't perform well, even with good CPM or CPC. In some cases, changing the targeting or ad has increased CPM and CPC costs, but has not improved the funnel's performance. So how do you determine whether to start with adjustments to the targeting or ad or focus or the funnel itself?
It's a longer question. Great question. Let's talk about this. There's really, I built a calculator for this. This is what we'll cover in the invisible list. But there's basically 3 different levers that someone can pull. And that is CPM, audience targeting. And what I tell people, let's just talk about CPM for just a second. I'm probably going to influence the CPM maybe 15%. If I'm super lucky, like maybe 20, probably not that, probably 15%. So just to make math really, Nick, what's 15% of 50? 45? No.
15% of 50 would be 7.5.
So 10, 3, so it'd be 43. So let's just say it's a $50 CPM and you can drop it to maybe 43 bucks, maybe. Like that would be aggressive. So once you start running ads, there's very little that you can do with the CPM cost unless you go to really wide targeting, right? So there's maybe a 15% difference. So, okay, if I go to a broader targeting, will it come down 30%? Probably not. Probably the CPM maybe comes down 15%. So the CPM just is what it is, which I tell people, and we can maybe lower it a little bit. Let's go to the next lever, number 2, your ad creative. Now, if I'm running an ad creative and I'm getting a 1.5 to 2% click-through rate, I can absolutely improve the click-through rate. But come on, it's already a great click-through rate. So can we improve that 2% click-through rate by getting 4%? Maybe if I add a Chihuahua jumping up and down, but it's not pre-qualifying my audience. Really, I'm looking for a 1.5% click-through rate. So if I'm getting a 2% click-through rate or above, I'm doing great. So the CPM, what it is, the click-through rate's at 1.5 to 2%. Ads doing what it's supposed to, or it's pre-qualifying people. And then now people are hitting my page. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking a look at my page, and I'm going to start taking a look at very specific page stats. I'm actually going to go over these stats here in just a little bit, but we're going to go over these very specific stats. How many did people click on my ad? Did they hit the landing page? Is my page speed load working? They got to sometimes I had Vision from Mindvalley call me, and he's like, hey, my webinar's not working anymore. Oh, let's look at all your stats. It's not converting right. And we found out that there was something wrong with their mobile site where 50% of the people who clicked on the ad weren't actually making it to the landing page. So it looked like the click-through rate was really good. It looked like the ad performing, but nobody was showing up to the webinar. Why? Because they'd click, it took too long for the page to load and people would just bail. So that's one point that we got to take a look at. Then we go to the next point. I'm going to share these stats here in just a little bit. But what we're able to do is to judge every hop where people make a hop. And if they basically want people to visit the sales page, add to cart page, initiate checkout page, purchase. If they go to the sales page, if they go to the landing page, and then don't do anything else, we have an idea of what to do next. And I'm going to show those stats here in just a little bit. When I get stuck, I upload the entire story, all my stats, my entire screenshot of my meta ad sets. I tell exactly what I want to do, and I upload it to AI and say, what are 15 suggestions that you would do on the offer or the landing page? Because I'm already getting, and I put in my stats, the CPM is at this cost, my click-through rate is this, we're already getting clicks, the click cost is this. What are 15, or I say 20 usually, what are 20 different suggestions that you would have that I would change with the landing page to get people to that next spot? I'm going to get 15 or 20 different answers from AI, and I'm going to take my best 2 recommendations, and I'm going to work from there. But I will absolutely go through the numbers of what part to work on in just a couple of minutes. That's how we work on with clients. Like, I'll give you a great example. We have a client right now. I've been running ads for about a year, and they're doing this one specific type of opt-in. We've gotten thousands of leads at $6. They do not monetize the leads. And they're like, okay, Kurt, let's change the ads. And I go, okay. We can get thousands of leads for the price of $6, hands down. We have figured out the CPM. We have figured out the leads. We can get $6 leads all day long. But once that lead comes into the funnel, they're not converting. There's something that's missing that someone is so excited to opt in, but not moving to the next part. We need to move on that next part. And they're like, Kurt, I think we need to look at the ads. We need to look at exactly what's happening. We're targeting the right people. They're opting in at a good rate. They're opting on in, but they're not buying, they're not moving forward. So we always want to make sure that we're working on the right part of the funnel as we're pushing people down. And again, I'll go through the stats here in a little bit. Really brilliant question. And a lot of people join Nick and I's like coaching and stuff like that, like a lot of people are in here, because they're like, hey, how do I get down to that next point? We show people how to set up a golden ad report. The golden ad report's a bunch of custom metrics that can help identify those next movement stops as well. Again, I'm going to go over all those metrics as we get to the metric portion of this, but I will absolutely cover it. Brilliant question. Brilliant question.
Andy wants to know, do you recommend the use of highlight your promo codes when Facebook finds we're using different coupons, aka automatically source codes?
I haven't played with those a lot. I'm always looking for feedback on that one. I don't know that enough. I haven't ran enough tests with that one. Great question.
Dieter's looking for clarification. 5 headlines, 3 long form, 2 short form posts means 5 ads in 1 ad set?
No. So just to be clear, great question. So this is 1 ad. You are able to put 5 different types of, so you can have 5 different posts when you're creating an ad. They're not posts. Copy for the post. So I like to do 3 long form, 2 short form, just to see what people click on. So it's 5 different types of content up here in the primary text and 5 different headlines. And Facebook's just going to rotate through what they think the right person wants to see, the combination of the right headline with the combination of the right body text that goes with the person who's seeing the ad. Facebook is not looking for the perfect ad. I always have to explain this to people. Facebook's not looking for, okay, what's the perfect headline and the perfect body that we show everyone? Because that's not relevant. What's relevant is Facebook actually figures out which headlines is going to affect which person and which description is going to affect which person. So Facebook will figure out the combination to target the right person at the right time that should relate to this. And like Michael has seen, sometimes when Facebook does that, it switches around the headlines and stuff like that, and it doesn't work. Sometimes it works really well because it's customizing your copy for the right types of people who want to see the right types of copy work.
Do you recommend using Advantage Plus creative enhancements?
Yeah, I talked about that earlier. I would look at them step by step and look at them very carefully. A lot of times it's a kind of extra placements and extra enhancements that you don't need. Just like I said, by like turning images into videos that plays music that doesn't go along with your brand. Again, it's not like it doesn't go along with your brand. It's if you're selling funeral services and you're listening to mariachi celebratory music, like it's just not that good. So I would just double check and just check it before you. I like to take all those settings off and test first, and then add those on later. But Facebook's like the government. Anytime Facebook's, oh, I'm here to help you. No, I don't need your help. I just need you to do your job. That's all I need you to do. I don't need any help whatsoever. Just need you to do your dang job when I tell you to do.
Julie wants to know if AI pictures convert well for ads.
Oh, yes. Because they're so unusual, right? Absolutely yes. Absolutely. I would say 8 out of 10 times AI beats, but good personal images work really well, but AI images can absolutely just crush it.
Rochelle, how do you know which combination is working if you have so many variations at the ad level as the breakdown reporting is normally not accurate?
Now, smart people like herself might not like this answer. As long as it's below my CPA, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Now, there is a way inside of Facebook reports to go into Facebook reports. You click on the Facebook reports, you scroll all the way down from columns, and it'll say dynamic creatives, and it will tell you the combinations that have worked. But just look at the combinations that have worked. But just remember, Facebook's trying not to find that perfect ad. Maybe you find 3 or 4 different combinations that have worked that you can use and duplicate in running some ads. But yeah, inside the reporting section, there's a button that you can hit that breaks down dynamic creative. I usually only look at that after 10 days of running micro budget ads. So there's enough information to really see what's in there.
To clarify a little further, she says, if it's a tiny budget, would it be better to run each copy and headline and creative independently?
You know, if you would like to know which headline works the best, which piece of copy works the best, it's going to be 20 times more expensive. Or I'll just make this up. So yes, you could test it that way, but this is something that I personally had to release, which is if my goal is a $10 lead and I'm getting a $7 lead, do I care? I want to look at it and figure out how I can duplicate that. But if I can just duplicate the campaign 10 times, I don't even need to know. So I actually just test 5 stuff at a time. And then when I see that something's working, I pull out that combination, write some copy and creative that's really close to that combination and see what works from there. But almost always, I almost never run one headline, one post description, and that's it. Because as long as I'm getting a low CPA, I don't care. And I feel that if I add this is just my personal opinion, if I add a bunch of primary text, headlines, descriptions in here, Facebook's going to be able to rotate through different combinations versus just testing a one-on-one. So actually, here's a great analogy. One of the clients that we work with has really grown a lot, and they have this whole corporate C-suite that makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit with corporate America. And here's one of the things why, is because they spent $80,000 on a brand study to see if people, this is a shoe company, liked outdoor activities. Yeah, that's what the company's based on. And like when my brother told me the story, I'm like, what the hell they spend $80,000 from? They already know this is their target audience. Yeah, but Kurt, when you get to this level, C-level execs either want to make sure that they're on the right track or that they're doing the right thing. You grew this company from a $4 million company to a $70 million company following this. You didn't need to pay 80 grand to know it. But so, yeah, you can absolutely test through it. Let's see here. I see this right here. Oh, got it. I'm not sure I understand the angles I'm using to create an ad of what sort of blue we're using to create the difference headline story. I'm not sure I understand what angles I am using to create an ad. What sort of blue? Oh, got it. Great question. Great question. It's for Randall. Really great question. Actually, Nick, I want you to go down your list of questions before I jump ahead. Sorry, I get really excited and answer this stuff. I want to make sure we answer all the questions.
Yeah, there's just a couple left here. Are you putting short form and long form in the same ad, or just putting them in a new ad? Each in a new ad?
No, remember, it's 5 pieces of copy. It's all in the same ad. So it's 3 long form pieces of copy, 2 short form pieces of copy. That's it. So it's 5 pieces of copy.
Mark wants to know, do you think testimonials would also be successful in my Hashimoto's niche as with the dentist?
Oh yeah, I know your niche very well. We worked with a client who was the only self-published author to hit the New York Times bestseller list, who's an expert in Hashimoto's. Testimonials crush it for their supplement business.
Deanna, we've been running ads using something really close to this strategy. Our main problem seems to be that we're hitting the wrong audience. We're doing maybe it's a fundraise for a real estate portfolio. We have the audience set up to the top 5 to 10% earners, but we keep getting leads that book calls and then ask if there's a lower tier. Any tips for that?
I would need to find a little bit more information out about what you mean by a lower tier. So if you're looking for investors who are going to invest an accredited investor $100,000 and they wonder if they can invest 50 grand, still interesting. I would love to hear about that. But if people are like, hey, look, I don't have the money and I only have $100, that's a whole other kind of different thing. One of the things that I do is when people book a call is we run a lot of testimonials and user-generated content and educational content to those people before they actually get on the call. So this could be answered in kind of 3 different ways. Number 1, I retarget with testimonials and or content for $1 a day, bottom of funnel, where I'm essentially educating the people on what's going to happen next, right? Or I'm showing testimonials that are some of our best clients that also help pre-qualify people, right? I'm hanging out at the yacht club I wouldn't do this, but wearing a really nice polo, nicely shaved, hanging out with my friends, talking about how I'm doing X, Y, and Z. It just shows a completely different demographic. Nick, there was one more part of the question that I just lost my train of thought. Can you repeat the question one more time? You may be on mute for a second.
Sorry, we just had kids come in. So they have an audience set up for 5 to 10% earners. They keep getting
that's
calls.
Right. Other thing that I would do is the follow-up process before they come in for the call, a dequalification process. So it could be like a voicemail drop, an email or a text message, or even a short video that you send them. Hey, by the way, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page so we don't waste anybody's time. One of the things we're going to talk about is ABC. These types of customers typically work best for us. If you're not in that situation right now, we would love to chat with you, but if you can just go ahead and put your name on an email, we'll go ahead and follow up. Our minimum investment at this time is just X. We have a client who just did $100,000 in coaching sales off of one webinar that we helped drive traffic to. And they got so many calls, their salespeople were just overwhelmed. So they actually started sending out messages asking people, hey, by the way, our coaching products are this, here's the solution. Do you believe that you're in the place to afford this where we could jump on a call and talk about it? Or is this the timing not right for you? They had 20 people cancel their phone appointments, but the rest of the people who filled them up, there was a 70% show rate, 70. So sometimes the disqualification beforehand with the right kind of content can really help that phone call to make sure you have the right person.
Velvet's niche is teaching moms to achieve time and financial freedom through investing in short-term rentals. What's the best way to test whether I should focus on my headlines or on achieving the result of freedom, or focus on investing in short-term rentals as the top of my funnel?
I would do, if I were in your shoes, because my girlfriend's always been very interested in this, is I would make emotional content top of funnel. I like to run a lot of the dollar a day top of funnel and middle of funnel, but like I could see you making. What I would do if I were in your shoes, Nick and I first met each other in the real estate niche, so we understand it really. What I would do is I would be making some like 1-minute videos, and I'd be making 1-minute videos talking to moms specifically about the feelings and emotions, what it's like in the 3 different stages leading up to investing in a house. Let me give you stage number 1. Somebody reads this book you've probably heard of called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Every single day, there are thousands of people across the world that pick up this book and they're like, ding, I have an idea. Just turning people onto that idea and that book and that concept is really interesting, right? There's where a lot of people have light bulb moments. It's like Inception. So top of funnel, one of the things I would talk about is aligning the belief system. Look, if you're at home and all you want to do is work an extra 15-hour-a-week job, there's a lot of different things that you can do, right? Lots of great side hustles. You could deliver for Uber. You could drive for Uber. You could name some stuff that just takes a bunch of time that no mom wants to basically do. Or what you can do is you can learn how to make really smart decisions, because moms, especially moms with multiple kids, really just any kids, they're so good at multitasking that when they're able to focus for 15 to 20 minutes at a time, their focus level and the way they can perceive data quickly, it's just, there's no other way to say it. It's unsurpassed. It's something like a superhuman power. So if you can show women how to unlock their superhuman power to analyze deals in the same time that they would for a passive income side hustle, to be able to build their family's lifetime legacy plan over the next 3, 5, 10 years. How about if I show you how to take that same amount of time that you'd be driving around for Uber to go out and buy your next property in like the next 30 days? I would talk about the emotions of what it's like being at home, not being able to invest. I would talk about the emotions of what it's like of starting to learn this, but being really confused, like step number 2, what do I do? So it'd be a lot of Q&A videos as well too. And then testimonials are what works the best. And really what works the best is even you telling stories about people. I met Samantha when she was 32. Samantha lived in her own, and telling Samantha's story and emotionally how she thought about the process to get into real estate. Because most people think it's a money problem. That's not it, right? 99% of the time it's a mindset problem. They just didn't know the options available to them. So I'd be talking about emotions and options.
Scott Carson chimed in, said testimonials all day on the real estate side.
Oh, dude, yeah, you should listen to this. Scott, will you put in your podcast? I think Scott's going to hit 1,000 episodes, or could even be more. Scott does short-term does seller finance notes.
The Note Closers show. The Note Closers
shows. Yeah. And Scott's been doing this a really long time. If you're into notes at all, he's just absolutely brilliant in it. But he's been doing it a very long time. So yeah, take advice from him. Absolutely.
He said, I'd say what it's like to start saying yes to your kids' dreams after saying no before becoming an investor.
Dude, yes. Because that has, well, so many people are like, learn how to make $50,000 in your first real estate deal. That's, people don't conceive that, and it's hard to run those ads. What Scott just said, 100% absolutely.
Okay, find my place. Oh wait, I did that one. Which AI do you use to determine how to get people through the stuck place in the funnel?
I'm either going to use Claude or GPT. What I like to basically do, I talked about this the other day at our training. What I like to do is I like to take our primer. I like to take screenshots of the entire website and funnel. Like I said, I like to upload my meta report, tell them my stats, tell them my problems. And then again, I always ask, what are 20 things that you would do in this situation? And then I put in some other prompts, like you have 25 years of experience in conversion rate optimization, copywriting, some other stuff like that. And then, yeah, once I get all the information and I'm just like, okay, here are my goals. What are 20 things that you would do? I like Claude right now a lot more than I like GPT, but that's just my deal.
When you have multiple headlines and text, when duplicated, will it keep the comments?
There's a button that says keep the comments if you want to keep the comments, yeah.
Reynaldo, I'm not sure I understand what angles I'm using to create an ad. What sort of glue are we using to create our different headline and long short form copy?
This is the advertising primer, right? Getting all this work done up front. Like, this is the stuff that we can figure out. Okay, how do we make sure that we're writing headlines that's really sticky, that someone's really going to like? Am I still sharing my screen? No, I'm not. Of course, I'm telling a story and not sharing my screen. This right here. How do we make sure our headlines and our descriptions are sticky? Is because we're working with different AI tools, meaning like I'm going to ask the same question to ChatGPT, ask the same question to Claude, but I may say, okay, out of all of this information from our kind of promotional brief, from all of this, what are 20 recommendations on overall and next steps, or what are 20 headlines that can relate best to my avatar? What I would do naturally is write some headlines that I thought would be close to my avatar. What AI allows me to do is write directly towards their desires that I didn't even realize that they had. So if I fill out the advertising primer, that's where I get my sticky headlines, body, stuff like that. And then when I test it, I'm going to be testing. I'll show you in the format of how to test some of this to figure out what headlines work, what descriptions work. I'll do that in the over shoulder example after our break.
Jeremy, you'll like this one here. Will this work for high ticket sales, $2,000 to $5,000 coaching program, book calls with the target goal?
Yeah, we just had a client over the last 45 days, got 30,648 leads, all at a cost for about $10. That is for 3 webinars. One webinar, they closed $100,000 in sales at $5,000 coaching packages. That's just one of the 3 webinars. We haven't got in the numbers on the other 2 webinars yet.
Yes. Richard, this was from earlier, but Richard asked, did you help the clients with the webinar too?
Absolutely, I actually did. That's part of the stuff that we do with the agency. I do help some people inside of our belt method support, but that's actually one of the things for me. Nick always says this, I like to spitball images. So if I know my numbers, I know all the numbers through the funnel. I know what the numbers should be when someone opts in, when someone shows up, how long they should view the webinar. Like I know all the stats of where they should be moving. So many times I'm like, okay, people are stuck right here. Here's exactly what you say. Go record this video, say this, do that. Perfect example. First time they did a webinar, I'm like, here's what you should have on your landing page, 40% opt-in rate because of the one distinction I told them of the images to put on their page. We started running ads. We got about 1,000 leads coming in for their 800 leads for their first webinar. Then I'm like, wait a minute, we didn't get any booked calls. They signed up for a webinar. We didn't get any booked calls. I want you to record a 2-minute video and say exactly this for the next webinar. People are going to opt in. They're going to see you. You're going to say exactly this once they opt in. The second webinar, they got 1,200 people registered, 25 booked calls before the webinar. On the webinar, they got 35 booked calls. We're up to 60. Now, with the replay, they got another 10, 70 calls, and they close half of them for a $5,000 ticket. So yeah, it works.
Scott just put in here, I've been using the $1 a day to promote my 1-day class, which is free, to drive signups for my workshop, which is $500, and my high-end coaching, $25K. And he's in a smaller niche of real estate investing. Nice. How many audiences is recommended to add as targeting for one micro budget campaign?
Small or as large as you like. I like to have audiences. If I'm really testing ad creatives, I like to have an audience that's a couple 100,000. But if you're only targeting dentist, if you're targeting dentist in a zip code or a certain audience and you can only target 30,000, that'll work too. The nice thing is with the $20 a day budgets, either they're going to run or they're not. If your audience is too small, it just won't run. That's it. And if it does run, I can show you a stat. If you run it in a small audience, you're not making any sales. You just see, okay, did I show the same ad to people over and over? Facebook top of funnel won't let you show the same ad to the same group of people 5 or 10 times like you retarget people at the bottom of your funnel. So many times we can see if like your ad's just not running because there's not enough people to serve it to. So with the micro budgets, it's pretty open, a little bit better, bigger the audience, a little bit better for me.
Okay, I think we're through that round of questions. Cole says he spent 20K on ads and for coaching
wow.
on one sale, so he's stoked about this micro approach. Good.
Absolutely. I'll show you some examples. I'm going to actually take some screenshots of that client here too.